Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaimudire. Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Hai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, Verse 72. Triratrante kapitha badarashanaha atmavrityanusarena masam ninyarchayan harim. For the first month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only fruits and berries on every third day. For the first month, he ate only fruits and berries on every third day, only to keep his body and soul together. And in this way, he progressed in his worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kapitta is a flower which is known in Indian vernacular as Kayeta. We do not find an English equivalent for the name of this flower, but its fruit is generally not accepted by human beings. It is eaten by monkeys in the forest. Dhruva Maharaj, however, accepted such fruits not for luxurious feasting, but just to keep his body and soul together. The body needs food, but a devotee should not accept foodstuff to satisfy the tongue in sense gratification. Should not accept foodstuff to satisfy the tongue in sense gratification. It is recommended in Bhagavad Gita that one should accept as much food as necessary to keep the body fit. Yukta hara viharasya. But one should not eat for luxury. Guru Maharaj is an acharya, and by undergoing severe austerities and penances, he teaches us how one should execute devotional service. So this is very interesting. Generally, we say that devotional service means no austerities. And Prabhupada is saying how by undergoing severe austerities, he teaches us how one should execute devotional service. So we should not execute dry austerities, meaning we should execute austerities which are favorable for Krishna consciousness, which are going to help us progress in devotional service. Those austerities are have to be undertaken. We must carefully know the process of the Maharaj service. Carefully know the process. How severely he passed his days will be shown in later verses. We should always remember that to become a bona fide devotee of the Lord is not an easy task. But in this age, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it has been made very easy. But if we do not follow even the liberal instructions of Lord Chaitanya, how can we expect to discharge our regular duties in devotional service? So Prabhupada is saying previously it used to be very difficult, but in this age it has been made very easy. But even that made very easy process also, the liberal instructions, even that if we cannot follow, then what can we expect? It is not possible in this age to follow the Maharaj in his austerity, but the principles must be followed. Principle of austerity has to be followed. Severity may not be as much. We should not disregard the regulative principles given by our spiritual master, for they make it easier for the conditioned soul. As far as our ISKCON movement is concerned, we simply ask that one observe the four prohibitive rules, chant 16 rounds, and instead of indulging in luxurious eating for the tongue, simply accept prasada offered to the Lord. This does not mean that with our fasting, the Lord should also fast. The Lord should be given foodstuff which is as nice as possible, but we should not make it a point to satisfy our own tongue. As far as possible, we should accept simple foodstuff just to keep the body and soul together to execute devotional service. Again, one more heavy purport. Prabhupada saying it's been made very easy. What is that? Follow four regulative principles, chant 16 rounds, And don't eat luxurious food. Mm. We should not disregard the principles, regulative principles given by our spiritual master. It is our duty to remember always that in comparison to Dhruva Maharaj, we are insignificant. Prabhupada is saying it is our duty to remember this. We cannot do anything like what Dhruva Maharaj did for self-realization because we are absolutely incompetent to execute such service. But by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we have been given all concessions possible for this age. So at least we should always remember that neglect of our prescribed duties in devotional service will not make us successful in the mission we have undertaken. First of all, we should have undertaken a mission. Hmm? We will not be successful in our mission if we neglect the prescribed duties. It is our duty to follow in the footsteps of Dhruva Maharaj, for he was very determined. We should also be determined to finish our duties in executing devotional service in this life. We should not wait for another life to finish our job. Right? So, yeah, it's just a matter of whether we will accept it or not. That's all right. So, it's clear that we should actually target only this life only to finish this job. Meaning to achieve perfection, we should just aim to finish it off in this life. And for which we have to follow the regulative principles. We have to be determined to follow. Far as possible, we should accept simple food stuff. The whole idea is to just to keep body and soul together. Nothing else. Everything that we do should be for purification. Hmm. द्वितीयं च तथा मासं षष्ठे षष्ठेर्भको दिने तृणपर्णादिभिः कीर्णैः कृतान्नोऽभ्यर्चयन् विभुम्. In the second month he ate only every 6 days. In the first month he ate every 3 days. What did he eat? He eat only fruits and berries. And that too, what kind of fruits? That which monkeys eat. In the second month he ate only every 6 days. And what? No fruits and berries. Now only dry grass and leaves. Thus he continued his worship. तृतीयं चानयन्मासं नवमे नवमे हनि अभक्ष उत्तमश्लोकम् उपाधावत् समाधिना. Third month he drank water every 9 days. So first month every 3 days fruits and berries. Second month every 6 days dry leaves, um, dry leaves and grass. Dry grass and leaves. Third month every 9 days water. Thus he remained completely in trance and worshipped the Supreme Person of Godhead who is adored by selected verses. So by the severe austerity he remained completely in trance. चतुर्थम् अपि वैमासं द्वादशे द्वादशे हनि वायुभक्षोजितश्वासो ध्यायन् देवम् अधारयत्. The fourth month he became a complete master of the breathing exercise and thus he inhaled air only every 12th day. And this big way he became completely fixed in his position and worshipped the Supreme Person of Godhead. Hmm. Yeah. And that is why Prabhupada already set the stage for these verses, saying that this is too much severe austerity we can't do, but we should follow in his footsteps. Steps meaning at least we should do austerities, how much ever has been given to us by our acharyas. Yeah, we cannot do all this severe stuff, but at least we should follow four regulative principles, chanting at least 16 rounds, eating simple food, living simple life. Basically, it's all part of that. Just living a simple life to keep body and soul together. That's the whole idea. Um, so he did so many severe austerities and he became completely fixed in his position and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. पंचमे मास्यनुप्राप्ते जितश्वासो नृपात्मजः ध्यायन् ब्रह्मपदैकेन तस्थौ स्थाणुर्विवाचलः. The fifth month, he had controlled his breathing so perfectly that he was able to stand on only one leg, just as a column stands, without motion, and concentrate his mind fully on Parabrahman. Mm. So, fourth month, he nailed only 12th, every 12th day, and he became fixed. Fifth month, he stood on only one leg. सर्वतो मन आकर्ष्य हृदि भूतेन्द्रियाश्रयाम् ध्यायन् भगवतो रूपं नाद्राक्षीत् किञ्चनापरम्. He completely controlled his senses and their objects, and in this way he fixed his mind without diversion to anything else upon the form of the Supreme Lord. Oh. Just by hearing this only you will get goosebumps. Just impossible. Completely controlled his senses and their objects, and in this way he fixed his mind without diversion to anything else upon the form of the Supreme Lord. The yogic principles of meditation are clearly explained here. One has to fix one's mind upon the form of the Supreme Person of Godhead without diversion to any other objective. It is not that one can meditate or concentrate on an impersonal objective. Try to do so is simply a waste of time, for it is unnecessarily troublesome, as explained in Bhagavad Gita. आधारं महदादीनां प्रधानपुरुषेश्वरं ब्रह्मधारयमाणस्य त्रयो लोकाश्च कम्पिरे. When Dhruva Maharaj thus captured the Supreme Person of Godhead, who is the refuge of the total material creation and who is the master of all living entities, the three worlds began to tremble. Captured meaning in his dhyana, he captured the Supreme Lord. And this word, the particular word Brahma, is very significant. Brahman refers to one who not only is the greatest but has the potency to expand to an unlimited extent. Brahman is Sarvavyapi. How was it possible for Dhruva to capture Brahman within his heart? This question has been very nicely answered by Jiva Goswami. He says that the Supreme Lord is the origin of Brahman. For since he comprises everything material and spiritual, there cannot be anything greater than he. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Lord says, I am the resting place. Brahmanoham pratishtaham. I am the resting place of Brahman. Many persons, especially the Mayavadi philosophers, consider Brahman the biggest, all-expanding substance. But according to this verse and other Vedic literature such as Bhagavad Gita, resting place of Brahman is the Supreme Person of Godhead, just as the resting place of sunshine is the sun globe. Jiva Goswami therefore says that since the transcendental form of the Lord is the seat of all greatness, he is the Supreme Brahman. Since the Supreme Brahman was situated in the heart of Dhruva Maharaj, he became heavier than the heaviest, and therefore everything trembled in all the three worlds and in the spiritual world. So, Supreme Lord became situated in his heart. The Mahatattva, or the sum total of material creation, is to be understood to be the ultimate end of all universes, including all the living entities therein. Brahman is the resort of the Mahatattva, which includes all material and spiritual entities. Meaning Mahatattva comes from Brahman. Brahman comes from Parabrahman. Parabrahman comes from Bhagavan. It is described in this connection that the Supreme Brahman, Personality of Godhead, is the master of both Pradhana and Purusha. Pradhana means subtle matter, such as ether. Purusha means the spiritual spark living entities who are entangled in that subtle material existence. Pradhana is the unmanifest Mahatattva, or subtle matter. And Purusha is the spiritual spark, living entities. These may also be described as para prakriti and apara prakriti as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna, being the control of both the prakritis, is thus the master of Pradhana and Purusha. In the Vedic hymns also, the supreme Brahman is described as Anta Pravishta Shasta. This indicates that the supreme person of Godhead is controlling everything and entering into everything. The Brahma Samhita further confirms this. Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam. He has entered not only the universes but even the atom. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says, Vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam. Supreme Person of Godhead controls everything by entering into everything. By associating constantly with the Supreme Personality in his heart, Dhruva naturally became equal to the greatest Brahman by his association, and thus became the heaviest, and the entire universe trembled. In conclusion, a person who always concentrates on the transcendental form of Krishna within his heart can very easily strike the whole world with wonder at his activities. This is the perfection of yoga performance as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yoginam api sarvesham. All the yogis, the Bhakti yogi who thinks of Krishna always within his heart and engages in his loving transcendental service is the topmost. Ordinary yogis can exhibit wonderful material activities known as Ashta Siddhi, 8 kinds of yogic perfection. But a pure devotee of the Lord can surpass these perfections by performing activities which can make the whole universe tremble. Many questions anybody has? It is a very technical purport.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, your 1 month is that is equal to 30 days or any other number is that you like?
No, 1 month is 30 days only. Because he was on the earthly planets only. At least I have not heard any acharya saying anything different about this. Yeah, Shashank Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Prabhu, Mahatattva, like with respect to this para, can you explain, Prabhu? Because
Yeah.
there it is mentioned, it is mentioned. So
Yeah, it's a sum total of all material creation. So this second canto of Bhagavatam we would have read. So the so first there is Brahman. Okay, Brahman is the spiritual substance, Brahmajyoti, which is coming from the body of the Supreme Lord. Now this Brahmajyoti, so Mahavishnu lies down in one part of the Karana Jala, causal ocean. One second. So, um, so this whole part, three-fourth part of this is like a circle. Okay. And this Karana Jala, this is Karana Jala. This is Karana Jala, Viraja river. This surrounds the whole Vaikunta Dhama, Vaikunta Dhama. It surrounds completely Karana Jala. So now Mahavishnu or Karanodaka Shai Vishnu, Karana Udaka, so causal ocean, causal water, Shai, he was lying there, Vishnu. So he is Mahavishnu. He lies down in one part of this Karana ocean somewhere. Okay, and there this cloud of Mahatattva is formed. The cloud of Mahatattva is actually from this Brahman. Only this Mahatattva is formed. Okay, and this Mahatattva is the sum total of everything that is required for material creation, because material creation requires ingredients. So all those ingredients are there in Mahatattva, and this Mahatattva is like a dense cloud. See here, like this dense cloud actually it covers this whole area. It covers the whole area such that the Brahma Jyoti cannot enter. Means Mahatattva is full of ignorance. It prevents the bright Brahma Jyoti from entering. And so the uh, material universe or the space where all the material universe have to manifest, that is filled with darkness because of this Mahatattva. The Mahatattva blocks the light of Brahma Jyoti. So this Mahatattva, so there are various nomenclatures which are used. So first there is called Pradhana. Pradhana. As Pradhana is the same Mahatattva but in unmanifest or inactive state. When it starts to becoming active, it's called Mahatattva. Hmm. Uh, then what else? Yeah, it has all the ingredients for material creation. And from this, all the whatever 16 elements, 24 elements of material creation, like Panchamahabhuta, then Karmendriya, Gyanendriya, mind, etc., etc. So everything actually comes from this um, Mahatattva. So this whole process of um, creation is described in the second and third canto. Mm, Third canto, conversation between Maitreya and Vidura is very elaborately described. How all the elements are present, and then demigods also become present, but nothing is happening. They are not able to work together. Then Vishnu enters into each and every element with Durga, and Durga makes it active, makes the material elements active, and then creation happens. So many details are there. I mean, not be able to completely. I mean, I've read this multiple times, but still it's so technical that I might not be very accurate in terms of presenting this without reading the verses. It's very complex creation. But generally, we can
Okay,
understand all that material elements are this Mahatattva.
okay, Prabhu. Prabhu,
Yeah,
one question here,
yeah,
like my grandmother used to say, like we have to get like Brahma Jyotili, like Aikya Agadu, like
yeah.
she
So
she
that
was
is the
mentioning like that.
yeah.
But
So there are
as a
40
Krishna
types of
devotee, we
yeah,
will go upper than that, no, Prabhu.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. So there are 5 types of salvation or moksha. One is called Sayujya, which is what normally Shankaracharya's followers or impersonalists they want to achieve this merging into Brahma Jyoti. But Vaishnavas, devotees, don't consider this. Actually, they don't. Prabodhananda Saraswati says Narakayate. This the devotee is considered like equivalent to Naraka, merging into Brahman because there's no service. We can't serve the Supreme Lord there. So it's a very hellish state. Just no opportunity to serve Krishna. And then there are 4 other uh, moksha types of moksha: Sashti, Samipya, Salokya, um, Salokya, Samipya, Sashti, and what is the other one? Sayujya, Sarupya, Sarupya, Salokya, Samipya, Sashti. So 4 types of Krishna. 4 types of moksha are there, which basically takes the jiva more into Vaikuntha, Haridhama. Because in Goloka there is no concept of moksha. It's just bhakti, only seva, and however, right? We say in our constitutional position, we just go and serve Krishna. So these 4 mokshas are also not talked about in connection with Goloka in general. Yeah, so Sayujya is not something for us.
okay, sure. So it is like for Sarsti, we will reach, no, Prabhu, like where we achieve opulence there, like
Yeah,
above that.
Sasti and all is like that's why again Vaikuntha, Sasti, and this also is some kind of subtle desire. Like I want to have same kind of opulence as Supreme Lord is a subtle desire. Why should I want to have anything like the Lord? Lord is unique. Lord is ekam advitiya, as in there's no two people like the Lord. So he has to enjoy everything. Why should I become equal to enjoying his kind of opulence or his kind of farm or his? Why should I stay where he is staying? Now, these are all seem like no, they're not material desires for sure, but they are desires. So it's not very much appreciated by our sampradaya. We don't much appreciate this. Um, so we just say no, we want to do bhakti. Wherever the Lord wants us, we will go and do bhakti. And that is the highest platform of devotional service, which is completely selfless. No tinge of um, yeah, selfishness.
Okay, bro.
Okay. Anything else?
Pranam, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji, I couldn't understand properly. Like, Dhruv Maharaj captured Lord and everything
Yeah.
trembled. That thing. Just
Yeah.
elaborate
So
that.
see, basically, what Prabhupada is saying here is, since the Supreme Brahman was situated in the heart of Dhruva, he became heavier than the heaviest. Supreme Brahman is the heaviest. Supreme Brahman is the lightest. So is everything, right? So in this case, it is said that Supreme Brahman became heavy. He was positioned there. He became heavier than the heaviest. When if you stand on something and like we are very heavy for that object starts trembling and then it'll break. Uh, right. So that is the uh, due to the heaviness. So he had captured Supreme Brahman basically completely, and so the attributes of Supreme Brahman also became manifest in Dhruva. That's the whole idea. Of course, here it says heavy. Then next somewhere else it says the breathing stopped. So like because he just captured the Supreme Brahman. Supreme Brahman generally is independent and he's doing his stuff, whatever, to maintain the world. Now, because Dhruva captured that Supreme Brahman, in a way he wanted, um, right? So, uh, in some sense, I'm speculating here for us to understand. In some sense, Supreme Brahman mm, couldn't do his usual function type, as in completely under control of Dhruva. So, he became heavier than the heaviest. Basic point, it's difficult to understand. Yeah, but we can just understand because Supreme Brahman has all features, right? One particular feature mm, got displayed here, right? Which is Dhruva became heavier than the heaviest, and because he became heavy, so heavy that all the three worlds started trembling. Yeah, we should understand that
Okay.
not everything we can understand. Yeah,
Yes, that is the thing.
not
Okay,
we can
Prabhuji.
understand.
Thank
It's
you.
fine. Yeah. यदैकपादेन स पार्थिवार्धकस्तस्थौ तदनु निपीडिता महीना ननाम तत्रार्धमिभेन्द्रधिष्ठिता तरीव सव्येतरथ पदे पदे. As Dhruva, the king's son, kept himself steadily standing on one leg, the pressure of his big toe pushed down half the earth, just as an elephant being carried on a boat rocks the boat left and right with his every step. The most significant expression in this verse is Parthivar son of the king. When Dhruva Maharaj was at home, although he was a king's son, he was prevented from getting on the lap of his father. But when he became advanced in self-realization or devotional service by the pressure of his toe, he could push down the whole earth. That is the difference between ordinary consciousness and Krishna consciousness. In ordinary consciousness, a king's son may be refused something even by his father, but when the same person becomes fully Krishna conscious within his heart, he can push down the earth with the pressure of his toe. One cannot argue how is it that Dhruva Maharaj, who was prevented from getting up on the lap of his father, could press down the whole earth. This argument is not very much appreciated by the learned, for it is an example of Nagna Matrika logic. By this logic, one would think that because his mother in her childhood was naked, she would remain naked even when she is grown up. The stepmother of Dhruva might have been thinking in a similar way, since she had refused to allow him to get up on the lap of his father. How could Dhruva perform such wonderful activities as pressing down the whole earth? She must have been very surprised when she learned that Dhruva, by concentrating constantly on the Supreme Lord within his heart, could press down the entire earth like an elephant who presses down the boat on which it is loaded. So again, he became so heavy, it was trembling. Then the earth got pushed down also from its orbit or from its position because of that pressure of his big toe. Tasmin abhidhyayati vishwamatmano dvaram nirudhyasam ananyaya dhiya loka niruchvasa nipidita prisham salokapala sharanam yayutharim. Dhruva became practically one in heaviness with Lord Vishnu. The total consciousness. See now another aspect of Lord Vishnu. mm, Total consciousness. Vishnu is total consciousness. So when he became practically one with the total consciousness, due to his fully concentrating and his closing all the holes of his body, the total universal breathing became choked up. See this we should. How do we understand this? So Vishnu is total consciousness, which means now the total consciousness became present in Dhruva. And what was Dhruva's consciousness? Dhruva was concentrating on, he closed all the holes of his body. Mm. He was not breathing at all, right? Like 1 in 12 days, like that, he was breathing. Now looks like he stopped breathing. Mm. He closed all the holes of his body. So when he closed the holes of his body, because he had become total consciousness, all the holes of the universal body got closed. Uh, so the universal breathing became choked up, and all the great demigods in all the planetary systems felt suffocated and thus took shelter of the Supreme Person. You got it? So whenever we are in trouble, we have to just simply take shelter of Supreme Lord. No other option. When hundreds of persons are sitting in an airplane, although remain individual units, they each share in the total force of the airplane, which runs at thousands of miles per hour. Similarly, when unit energy is identified with the service of the total energy, the unit energy becomes as powerful as the total energy. I mean, yeah, this is, as explained in the previous verse, Dhruva, because of his spiritual advancement, became almost the total heaviness, and thus he pressed down the whole earth. Moreover, by such spiritual power, his unit body became the total body of the universe. Thus, when he closed the holes of his unit body to firmly concentrate his mind on the Supreme Lord, all the units of the universe felt the pressure of suffocation as if their breathing were being choked. Okay, so simply we can understand the his consciousness became equal to the universal consciousness. His breathing was stopped, so the universal breathing was stopped. So generally, just simplistically, we can understand that way. Therefore, they all took shelter of the Supreme Person Godhead because they were perplexed as to what had happened. This example of Dhruva Maharaj closing the holes of his personal body and thereby closing the breathing holes of the total universe clearly indicates that the devotee, by his personal devotional service, can influence all the people of the whole world become devotees of the Lord. Why? Because he can become that universal consciousness. He can influence the universal consciousness. So much power is there in devotional service of a pure devotee. Prabhupada says if there is only one pure devotee in pure Krishna consciousness, he can change the total consciousness of the world into Krishna consciousness. It's not very difficult to understand if you study the behavior of Dhruva Maharaj. So that this is possible. We can change the consciousness of the whole world. If we can become pure devotee in pure Krishna consciousness, we can change the total consciousness of the world into Krishna consciousness. So amazing. Power of a pure devotee. So it's just inconceivable how one ordinary jiva can control universal phenomena, right? He's controlling universal phenomena because he actually within his heart controlled or captured uh, the Supreme Lord, who is the cause for all universal phenomena. So powerful. So we can understand how powerful devotees are. They just don't want to display all this, power which is not connected to devotional service. What is the point in showing that I can become heavier than the heaviest? Devotee says useless. Just, la puja pratishtha. Let me focus on, I'm nobody anyway. Pranadapi Sunichana. Let me focus on serving the Supreme Lord. And then there are yogis who show all this magic and then people call them Supreme Lord and then they accept that. Cheating. Cheating. Okay, I think we'll stop here. Questions, comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, is
Yeah.
Dhruva Maharaj incarnation of Vayu? Something?
No. No, he's not. Okay. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji,
Yeah.
Dhanvat
Pranamant.
Prabhu, like even when Hiranyakashipu did austerity, then Lord Brahma came because the same
Yeah.
thing was done. No? They got hotter and it became there was no. So because he was not a pure devotee, and he was praying to Brahma, so Lord Brahma appeared.
Yeah.
Dhruva Maharaj was praying to Lord Vishnu, so Lord Vishnu appeared.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful of what we choose also, right?
Yeah, yeah. And of course, Hiranyakashipu did not have a guru.
Yeah,
Here,
Prabhu, he did
here
not.
Prahlad had a guru, Narada Muni, so he got the right direction.
Yes.
Though
Yes,
both
Prabhu.
of them at one level, we might think that both of them had selfish motives, right? But
Huh.
that is why it said that akama sarva kama va moksha kama udarati. We have to surrender to a guru because eventually the directions of guru will purify us. Dhruva, who came for sense gratification, right? Eventually, then he says, "What nonsense have I done?" Right? But Hiranyakashipu was happy that he did that nonsense, he achieved that nonsense, and he finally died. So, and Dhruva became immortal. So, we have to understand this whole thing again, continuation of
Yes.
yesterday's discussion, right?
Yes,
Is
Prabhuji. I
importance of
mean, you hit a very nice point that he did not have though he knew that Vishnu is the supreme, he thought he could boss over the supreme also. And had he had a guru, he would have realized that this is not happening.
Yeah,
And
I
this is
mean,
what exactly happened with Dhruva Maharaj.
yeah,
Right.
there is a possibility that Hiranyakashipu could have possibility because we have our free will. So Hiranyakashipu, even if he had a guru, no guarantee that he would have,
Yeah,
right?
Prabhuji.
But
Yes.
there would have been a possibility, definitely. If he had surrendered to the guru, then yeah, he would have possibly not done the mistakes he did.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
And thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranam. Anything else? Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Dhanvat Prabhu.
Yeah, friend.
So, Prabhu, initially I got like what feel I faced. I'm saying, Prabhu. Initially I got scared actually. Like 3 days and 9 days he was eating this grass and that. But last one point mentioned like with respect to pure devotion, we can change the whole world consciousness into Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
So that sentence actually it is like line of the day I could say, Prabhu. Like I was feeling very scared, Prabhu, like how Dhruva Maharaj was doing.
No,
It
but
was like
these are all material things. It's not very difficult. I mean, bhakti is so powerful. We have to understand that these kind of things are nothing. I mean, this kind of austerity. I mean, Prabhupada went for months without drinking, eating anything. He just went on for months, last few, months of his existence here. So for a pure devotee, this is not great at all. So whenever we see, that is why, when we see any kind of material, some, some magic that people show, you just should laugh at it, saying that this is childish. This is just childish. I mean, we are, our acharyas could do so much more, right? They changed the whole world. From someone asked Prabhupada saying that, where is your magic? He said, I've converted mlechas into devotees. What more do you want? Right? So it's our acharyas use that power for changing the consciousness of people, not some godless display of power. Prabhupada writes elsewhere, godless display of power. And godless display of power means using this power for godless things. This kind of some vibhuti, some apple, and then everybody starts singing, "Oh, your supreme Lord, your God, Bhagwan." Not that kind of nonsense. So yeah, materially anything that seems difficult or even practically impossible, we should understand is nothing for a pure devotee. Is nothing. That is the power of pure devotion.
okay.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhyo Vacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Ananta Koti Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.